Move on now to the next story about local government elections. Well, those elections are just around the corner now. Some communities have come together to tackle service delivery issues. In some areas, different parts of the country, community members have had to do more to protect themselves or enjoy or have better services. My colleagues, eNCA's reporters, Barry Bateman is in Soweto this afternoon, Lethiwe Mdluli, eThekwini, that's Durbs, and Nobesuthu Hejana in the mother city. Colleagues, good afternoon. Can I start with you, eThekwini, this hour, Lethiwe, and just talk to you about exactly what are you finding out there? You've been speaking to various community leaders as well, and also about communities trying to protect themselves. What are you finding out?
Well, good afternoon, Braden. I've been speaking to various organizations around the city about some of the work that they're doing to help out in their communities in whatever way. In the morning, I spoke to a feeding scheme in Newlands West who told me that they came together because they saw that their community was struggling with the food prices rising in the country. A lot of families were failing to feed their families. So they came together as a group of friends and they started a feeding scheme where they provide over 800 families in the Newlands West area with food and food parcels. They were telling me that during the time that they started, it was around when the pandemic started, and what motivated them was seeing a lot of people losing their jobs in the city, and that resulted in a lot of people losing their income, which meant that they could not buy food. So they came together and started helping out. But you'd remember back in July in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and also as well in Gauteng, we experienced the unrest where a lot of businesses were burnt down and also looted. And during that time, places such as the Durban CBD were affected. And after the looting and after the unrest, we saw the aftermath of those places basically just having dirt and businesses not operating. And some organizations in the city and people as well came together and formed groups and tried to help out in cleaning up the city. I was speaking to a leader that actually came up with the idea of cleaning up Durban, and this is what he had to say.
Basically, one of the things we look into is active citizenry, something that we drive. Sometimes we realize that instead of working against government, we need to join hands and collaborate. So that's what sort of like inspired us to start with the cleanup activity, where we had for 2 days. We had 150 plus volunteers that showed up, where we're doing some work around the CBD and cleaning up.
Now, let's get to Soweto. Barry, you are up and about there in Soweto. I mean, those July riots as well affected Soweto. And who have you spoken to and what are you finding out?
Yeah, exactly, Dan. I mean, it was perhaps a low point in the whole country, which we saw many people coming out and damaging what is theirs essentially in their community. Well, I've spoken to Nhlanhla Lux. Now, he started off, he runs a security operation here in Soweto, and at the time they got together all the members of the various security companies, but the community members as well, to go out and defend their various malls, and they managed to save, for example, the Maponya Mall from being looted. But that theme is carried on. It didn't end when the riots came to an end. They're continuing to provide security services, mobilizing and galvanizing that kind of support within the communities to be the eyes and the ears of the police, to keep a lookout for anything they see that might be troubling, and to get the relevant authorities involved. Now, I asked Lux about why is it important that there is this kind of forum to support the police in cracking down on crime. Take a listen.
Look, the biggest need came from the community not just accepting what is going on. We couldn't just sit back and watch the thousands of jobs being put on the line because of people looting. So we did think that this is about time we started getting organized, making sure that each community, we go back to the street communities, committees, bring back the street committees, make sure that we've got a security infrastructure to take care of our own security in the township.
So what you're saying is that what's happening here has gone beyond the July riots. That was the genesis. Do you continue outreach programs to this day, and what is it you're asking from the community?
Yeah, so from the community, we asking for involvement more than anything, because for us, security is not the big guns, it's not the rifle, it's not the men in blue, it's not the blue lights. This lady selling here can be part of our security, because we believe that crime prevented is more intelligent than reacting to a crime committed. So that's how we keep our community safe. So our involvement is that everyone play your role. We've got ways of communicating on the ground that more than often other formal security structures such as SAPS would never have.
Interesting point there, Barry, by Nhlanhla Luck, saying community safety and security is more than just about the guns on the front line. But I mean, I guess there's a need to support those who are victims of crime.
Absolutely, and that's where we have another aspect here in this particular community, and that relates to gender-based violence. You know, it's a dark spot on our society, Dan, where we have these increasing, incidents of gender-based violence. But what we don't see, and it's often the criticism of the authorities, is the support for the survivors. Those people who have fallen prey to this particular scourge, who go to the authorities and they want to report the particular crime, and they don't get that particular support. So we have born out of that the Tsegofatsopule Foundation. You remember that was the brutal murder of a young pregnant woman, and it was out of that this organization was born to provide that service to those people who are survivors of the crime. Now, I was speaking to the spokesperson for the organization on why it is important that we need the support from the community on this particular crime. Take a listen.
Seeing that, I mean, the more we sit and complain, nothing is going to happen. And already organizations that came before us have been known to just get funding and then sit down and not do anything. So we've decided that, you know what, in order for us to have voices that can actually be heard, it has to be done through our actions. So we've taken it upon ourselves to say, you know what, if the government can't or won't, whichever one it is, we might as well just do it ourselves, and then we'll just, you know, meet them halfway, wherever that we can meet each other, that we can do that. And then hopefully in the near future we can work out proper formulas where we can be able to work in conjunction with each other going forward.
Well, in the mother city, I'm sure, Nobesuthu Hejana, you are also hearing stories of from residents who continue to lament poor service delivery. Nobesuthu?
Certainly, but then I am in Durban, an area where a lot of community members have been complaining about the state of their roads, where you can see on the road are potholes, and community members in this area say they've had or they've tried calling local authorities to try and fix these roads, but they've been delaying to do so. And I'm now going to bring in Mr. Gumete, who is part of the residents who have been putting up money aside to buy equipment or buy cement in order to fix these roads. Tatu Gumete, bonicela lokuba ningabahlali apha niye niqokelele imali ukuba nikwazi ukuthenga mhlambi noba zisamente ukungciba ezindlela. Kutheni nithathela uxanduva ezandleni zenu?
Siluthatha lolu xanduva ngoba indawo le ngeyethu ngiyokuhlala. Sikwenza ngothando, hayi ngoba thina sibhekane nokuthi uhulumende uzabe uyasenzele, ngoba suke singakwazi ukuthi uyobuya nini sokuthena. Kodwa okusimangazayo ukuthi sibabona bengena bephuma, kodwa abakwazi baze kuthina basibonise ukuthi basikhathalele. Kuyiko sizame ukuthi sisukume sizenzele lapho sibona khona ukuthi safikelela, sizame ukuphesha lapho siphesha khona.
And ubunixelela emini ukuba nangona nizama mhlambi xa nizivalile ezindlela okanye ezi potholes, loo nto ihlala noba yi-4 months okanye i-3 months, because kuyavuza apha, imibhobho iyavuza.
Yeah, kuthatha lezo nyanga ezimbili kusiya kwezintathu noma ezinhlanu. Unobangela ukuthi sisuka sikwenze temporary ngoba singenakho okuthizeni okufakwayo ngokwendlela efanele. So sabe senza apho nathi sifikelela khona njengabahlali ekuhlaleni.
Sibulele kakhulu Tatu Gumete. Well, Praden, a resident here in Durban, Tatu Gumete, explaining to us that they don't have much. They collect money as residents to ensure that they're able to buy enough equipment or material to fix these potholes. And he's saying that they won't wait for government. They see them when they come here to campaign, but nothing is done. They just come here to promise them that they're going to fix whatever that is needs to be fixed in this community, but nothing gets done. So they took it upon themselves as residents to collect money to ensure that they fix their communities.
Yeah, people are sick and tired of empty promises and are beginning to do things for themselves. Going to be interesting when the 1st of November comes. Thank you very much, Nobesuthu Hejana in Dunun in Cape Town. You too, Lethiwe Mdluli in Durban, and Barry Bateman, who's been up and about in Soweto today.